Hi, I'm Jono, and if you're new here, I do pencil drawings. Drawing is often only seen as putting pencil onto paper. We don't always think of the role that erasing plays in that process. When we think of erasing, we just think of a way to fix a mistake that we've made with pencil or charcoal. Gonna just erase everything and start over. I think the longer I've been drawing, I've realized that erasing has become one of the pillars of my practice. Every major breakthrough that I've had with drawing or with charcoal has been a new way of trying to erase my work. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about what I've learned about erasing over the last 13 years of drawing. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. I'm at the point now where I primarily focus on how the marks I'm making affect my potential to erase. I've started to let my eraser speak more and more in my work. I think I've always struggled to let go of control, and that's always led to rigid, cartoonish or artificial marks. And I think this is a byproduct of rigidity in my practice. Gripping my pencil too hard, afraid to make any mistakes. One of my solutions to this has been to let my eraser flow over my graphite in an unpredictable and more organic way. I'm often surprised by the marks the eraser makes, feeling more like it's a collaboration between me and the medium and the tools that I'm using. I can enhance subtleties that the eraser suggests, bringing new and interesting textures to the page that I otherwise would never have considered. Just to give you some examples of when erasing has actually been crucial for my drawings. In Harm, I used the kneadable eraser to get organic shapes in the flesh. I was struggling to get the subtlety and the layers I was looking for when I was just using my pencil. And so I decided to apply a base tone and then work negatively, which allowed me to get really confident lines with the eraser and actually build up layers to get the soft, delicate tones that I was looking for. In Approval, I used the kneadable eraser to help with blending, gently tapping on the graphite to slowly lift back some highlights to get to the tone that I was looking for. It's really difficult to lift graphite back out evenly, and I found that the only way I could do it was to create a large surface area with the kneadable eraser by rolling it into a ball, and then rather than dragging it over the page, just gently tapping it against the page to lift out even tones of graphite. In Camivera and I used my mechanical eraser to pull back some sharp highlights on the eyelashes and on some smaller hairs. I couldn't do this with any other eraser because the paper had already been saturated with graphite. I needed the eraser to be spinning to actually give enough friction to get the lines back out and get a fine, sharp line. And then also in August, I used the kneadable eraser to try and find organic lines for the veins of the elephant's ear. Just gently dragging the eraser over the graphite, allowing the eraser to dictate some of the direction of these lines and get a really gentle highlight. This lent itself really well to the subtlety that I was trying to achieve. To fully make use of erasers, I've had to draw with erasing in mind. The way that I lay down graphite is determined by how I might be able to erase from it and erase for the texture that I'm looking for. If I just worked normally and pressed hard with a pencil to try and get my tones, I'd never be able to erase back out of it with the subtlety and accuracy that I've learned erasers actually offer. I'm constantly looking for new ways to pull graphite out, to get sharper and brighter lines while erasing, always trying to bridge that gap between the darkest values and what I can pull back out to the lightest value. I thought I'd list some practical factors that might help you out if you want to experiment with erasing. These are things I've learned over the years, which I wish I knew earlier on. Firstly is the role that your paper plays. Some papers lend themselves really well to erasing, while others are really difficult to erase from. Look for one that suits your style of work and doesn't hang onto the graphite too much. At the same time, you also don't want a paper that doesn't take graphite easily. My paper of choice is a watercolor paper called Arches Aquarelle 300 gram hot press. If you want to just jump in and use that one, it's worked really well for me. This video isn't sponsored by Arches. Hopefully they do sponsor one day. The next thing that affects your ability to erase are the pencils that you use. Graphite is really easy to erase, but if you use a hard pencil and you press hard, you're going to have a hard time erasing. So what I've found over the years is that 9B pencils applied very softly are a lot easier to erase than say an HB that you have to press quite hard to get the tone that you're looking for. Also different compounds like a black color pencil is a lot harder to erase than just normal graphite. Your paper and your pencils play a big part in how hard you need to press to achieve the tones that you're looking for. And this is something to consider. If you know that there's an area of your drawing that you want to erase a lot in, you can't just go in and press really hard. You have to work carefully and softly, knowing that a large part of that area will be erasing work. And lastly, a thing that plays a massive part in your ability to erase are the tools that you use. Working directly with graphite onto the paper is a lot harder to erase than if you apply that same graphite with a softer tool like a brush or cotton wool. If you use a blending stump and you push really hard into the paper, it pushes graphite really deep into the fibers as well. You might just have a soft mid-tone, but that mid-tone is so saturated into the paper that it can be hard to pull it back out. So a little warning with blending stumps, I learned that early on. They're a little bit harder to erase than working with cotton wool or a brush. Erasing has added a whole new element for drawing. The biggest breakthroughs I've had with pencil drawing have been when I've found new ways to erase, and I think that that's quite an important takeaway. If you found some of the tips in this video helpful or just interesting, leave a like, it helps the channel out in a huge way. Let me know in the comments if you've got any tips for us with erasing. As always, it's really useful to learn from the comments section. Before in this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they played a huge role in my career, not only in helping me maintain this channel by sponsoring these videos, but most importantly, early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work. I didn't have time to learn HTML, so I was looking for a really easy and simple solution. I needed something that looked really good, that was effective in showing my work, making it easy for clients to find me and get in touch with me. And I felt that Squarespace just did that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use the soft code and get 10% off your first purchase. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye.